Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. This week has been my first time, probably in about a year, where I haven't had a video come out daily. And last week I also made my Twitter account private to try to help me break the habit of social media. And this week someone I knew died. And the last time I saw him, I shook his hand, said thank you for all his work, and said I'll see you next month. And he died in a car accident this week. And I've been thinking about that all week, and I was actually reading this book when I got the news, so it's kind of relevant. Basically, because he wasn't a super close friend of mine, but we were closely acquainted. I talked to him a lot. He was kind of in a teacher role to me. And today I was thinking, if I were in a car accident, even through no fault of my own, and right before my face goes through the windshield, what do I want to have done so I can be at peace in that moment and know that I've done what I'm supposed to do? I've fulfilled my purpose. And instantly the answer came to me: write and publish my books. The books I'm always dreaming about and daydreaming about and taking notes about and never get around to actually doing because I let, like other things take first priority. And the fact that I came up with that answer so quick meant something to me, because the answer wasn't be a YouTube star. The answer wasn't be a super popular smart aleck on Twitter with the hot takes. The answer was make something that means something to me and will be there after I'm gone. And basically, this ties in with what I've already basically been doing, but I'm just gonna step away from Twitter entirely now. I'm going to mostly step away from YouTube. It won't be goodbye, because I love this channel. This channel's helped me a lot. I love the people I've met here. I want to use this channel to promote my work as I go. But doing the daily content and kind of chasing the YouTube algorithm has become a distraction and a thing in and of itself, where instead of using it to promote my work, I'm using it as a distraction to procrastinate from my work. And the thing about Osamu Tezuka is the kind of artist who lights a fire under you. He's the kind of artist who writes about life and death. So the very fact that I was reading about life and death when I got this shocking news that kind of shook me to my core a little bit, it means something. It means that Osamu Tezuka is using art to tell me something true that literally connects with what I'm going through right now this week. So I'm not going to leave YouTube entirely, but basically for those of you who have been following me, who've been sharing your thoughts and comments, who've been supporting me, I love you. I say I love you guys at the end of every video because I mean it, but I'm going to be going into quiet time for a bit. And don't be sad that I'm going into quiet time. Be happy, because what me going into quiet time means is that I'm going to clean my room, schedule my time, and kind of get myself into the position where I'm actually making what I know I need to make and not distracting myself from what I need to make. Wow. It's been such a week. So Osamu Tezuka, the grandfather of manga, he writes about life and death. He draws simple little cartoon people, and he puts them through horrible circumstances. And maybe what's important about Blackjack, I'm not sure if I heard this from Scott McCloud or maybe a book about Tezuka, but Tezuka invented Astro Boy. He invented the Princess Knight. So he pretty much invented the shoujo and the shonen manga categories. And he reached a point in his career where people thought he was a bit of a has-been, maybe like a bit of an old fuddy-duddy who didn't have any great gems left in him. And I think it was Blackjack that was his first big hit after his little children's books were hits. It was his first hit among adult readers. And really it was the renewal of his career. Now, I think he died early because he worked himself to death, but Tezuka is the kind of guy who that work ethic I want to shoot for, and I don't just want to talk about it on YouTube. I don't just want to praise artists with great ethic on YouTube. I want to get to the point where I have that work ethic. I'm making works. I'm getting my own young group of people who are interested in my work. Wow. So it's beautiful to look at these things. It's beautiful to think about the details of them. But now I kind of want to join the conversation. I want to make it. So this is going to be kind of a goodbye video to let you know where I'm going, what I'm doing. But let's now do not my last review on this channel, but my last review before I start focusing on my path in life, making everything work for myself, and make some beautiful books for you. All right. Blackjack. And this is a sad book, too, so it hit me. All right, so this is a collection of story. It's not an exhaustive collection of story. They make note in the footnotes that they have skipped some stories. It's a bit more of a greatest hits section, and apparently there's a hardcover edition that's unabridged. So I just want to look at some examples of Tetsuka's style and his comic work, just to show you why I say he's pretty special. So number one, Tetsuka is influenced by Western cartoonists, most notably Popeye. I see quite a few characters who remind me of either Popeye or Mr. Wimbley. And even though his art style kind of precedes the manga style being developed, what's amazing about him is I think any early artist, you see the sparks or the light, which would later become standard in the medium. So right now he's doing a lot of Western stuff that kind of contemporary manga artists don't do. But once in a while you'll see a page or a panel where he's breaking out of the Western style and doing something unusual and kind of distinctly Japanese with it. And all of these things then kind of, they become so common that it's almost like, what's the big deal? Everybody does that. Yeah, everybody does it after Tetsuka innovates it. And I also see that pattern in history. So number one, he always does a good job of like emotionally underscoring the characters, like terrible things are happening to them. There's a lot of injustice in his world, and he likes character archetypes. So he'll always have like some combination of features. Like a lot of guys will have this swoopy hairstyle and a big nose, but maybe the nose will be a different shape or the hair will be a different color. He has a lot of sneaky guys with the big evil grin and the long eyebrows, but he has a lot of variety. So yeah, he'll reuse a few motifs, but unlike a lot of people who have same face syndrome, it's always easy to tell his characters apart. Even if he reuses a stock face or a stock hairdo later, within each story, it's really easy to tell everyone apart instantly. So this is all kind of like panel. You're getting into the swing of things. And he'll do like, fourth wall breaking gags, like the bad guy gets mad and he jumps up and his head hits the ceiling and it's bending the panel he's in. And it's almost like kind of breaking the fourth wall. It can be a bit cliche and a bit cheesy, but that's really close to you thinking about the limits of the medium and the nature of the medium and how can you play with that. So this is a comedic use of breaking the fourth wall, but he'll also have characters, jump out of the panels in ways that kind of serve the emotion of the story later. This one, kind of like a Popeye guy with a big giant chin. So cough squad. Oh boy. I think I inhaled something there. Okay, this page. This is actually really important. I want to get the story for you. Okay, this is from the first storm of spring. So it's this young girl. She sees like a phantom. And in this page, he's now doing something completely unusual and disorienting. The artistic composition reinforces the disorienting nature of meeting a strange apparition. So she's standing straight. We rotate the angle slightly. As she sees that, we rotate the angle further as she chases after the apparition. And now the panels keep angling, but look at this. She's bending back this way again. So she's fighting that. The rotation is telling us to keep going this way. Down, 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 but she's not. Now she's straightening up, and we straighten up some more, and we straighten up some more. So the result is more disoriented, coming back to normal, even though it's a weird shaped panel. That's excellent. What a great page. Jumping ahead. Just another weird character with another distinct face. His name is some kind of gag on a writer. Okay, this page is great too, where she's finally meeting the man she believes she's seen in the apparitions, and he asks her to go sit with him over there. And this beautiful, detailed panel pauses us. It makes us look at all the little details, and then after this, they finish their conversation. So how do I know that this is later than this? Because I actually spent time in this panel. I had kind of like a long, pregnant pause, and then boom, okay, later they're talking about that. I don't interpret that as it happening a second after that. This happens maybe an hour after that. Excellent. Maybe one of the interesting things about Blackjack is he's a doctor, and Blackjack kind of combines interesting elements of realism and fantasy and horror and beauty all together. So like they're describing a teratoid cystoma, which is a realistic rare medical condition, but there's like a fantasy element. Anyone who tries to remove this cyst that contains the body parts of a twin that was never born, well, they start acting strange and like going erratic, and they can't operate on it. So they need Dr. Blackjack. So that's kind of a horrifying, almost ghostly idea. And then like the depictions of, you know, like the horrible conditions people have, that adds to the horror. But it's not sort of just in your face, oh, look, they murdered him and ripped him to a million pieces type of horror. It's a horror from just some things being unsettling by their nature, you know, the body, the human body, and bad things and illnesses and diseases happening to the human body. Those things are always kind of primally unsettling, but then because it's a doctor story, it's sort of like it subverts that, and it puts that in the context of now he's going to like take care of the tough medical case and heal the patients, and he's such a great doctor. So it's really interesting because it's a horror element in the context of it, but the medical, you know, scientific aspect of it, it's sort of like he's taking these horrific elements and he's combining it with the scientific world, the modern age. Tezuka was very influenced by Hiroshima, I think. So a lot of his musings, a lot of his explorations are about the problems of the modern world in the nuclear age. And he taps into kind of ancient, terrifying things to get at that. I think these pages together are kind of like the perfect summary of Tezuka, where you get like the realistic, kind of very disturbing, you know, images of the human body, and you get like the little cartoon person to explain it for the little kid what the medical condition is, and then like a watercolor painting to show you a bit more of a medical perspective on it. The simple, the cartoony, the very straightforward, the childlike, the detailed, the disturbing, the eternal, the horrifying, slammed together, and that's what makes the Tezuka style so great. I'm going to jump ahead several stories to the Black Queen. So here's an interesting little page where you know, you read left, right, and then you read this normal, you know, right, left. Oh, that's right. I was thinking English instead of Japanese. You read this way and then this way, but it's all like little vignettes from a day. So you could almost like stay here and go in a circle and just sort of like hop around if you wanted to, and that wouldn't be a problem. And then back to normal. Interesting. Later. Okay, so this is another convention that became normal later. Like a lot of manga artists will have the person show up and they'll show the full body so you can see the character head to toe. And that serves the purpose of giving you a complete mental picture of the character, usually when they're first introduced. This is not the first introduction of the Black Queen. This is her at kind of like a moment of crisis, wondering if she has what it takes to do the job and kind of like having everything fall apart. Or so, then we zoom out and we show her whole body in this kind of big important moment for her. And the style of drawing feels different than the panel thing. So it works beautifully. Jumping ahead farther, I want to get the name of this story. This is The Legs of an Ant. All right, I posted a pic of this because this is one-page exposition. In one page, Osamu Tezuka tells you everything you need to know about the main character, and he establishes the theme that will be built on throughout the rest of the story. This is excellent condensed writing. He's not wasting his time. He's not wasting our time. Boom. He hits you with something. Ants? Come on, Mr. Ant. You can do it. Pull yourself up. Now walk. That's right. Stand up and walk. You're doing great. All right. And he's in a wheelchair. This is the first time we've seen him. We've heard him. Now we see him. Boom. Only comics can do that. Look, he's dragging his feet, but he's walking. But no one's there. And now he kind of hangs his head a bit more dejected. So optimistic. We understand what he wants. He wants to walk. He sees the ants walking. He's cheering for the ant. He feels dejected. Can he do it? And then jump months later. Will he do it? And that's pretty much the rest of the story. But this is a perfect page. It hits you with a whammy, tells you what you need to know about him, and the ant motif is then used throughout the chapter. Here's just like another little example of him drawing weird little characters. There are some contemporary manga artists like Eiichiro Oda, the artist of One Piece, who do really exaggerated and funny cartoon people. I kind of wish more manga artists would lean into this. Like, where do you see a character like that? What's his story? Could you take that character idea and do a comic about what a day in the life of this guy is like? That'd be interesting. A artist like Tezuka is, I think, what would the word be? They influence generations that come after them because they throw a lot out there. There's a lot they throw out there that they're playing with and they're exploring and they're touching on. And then like all of that, once they're done with it, all of that becomes like fodder for a new generation. And it could be like the deep themes like the nuclear war and stuff, or it could be just like the simple little funny characters. Jumping ahead. Oh, I am 99.99% sure that this is a self-portrait of Osamu Tezuka. I think he used to joke that his name sounds like the word for beetle in Japanese, and he'd always draw himself with a little French hat. And then I think on the next page he's got a little shirt that says, "Why am I here anyway?" So that is Tezuka. I'm positive. So just a fun little moment. I think I also saw Astro Boy and maybe Princess Knight show up. Sometimes, since he draws characters so similar, it can be a little hard to tell if it's supposed to be an homage to an old character or if he just draws them the same way. But I know I saw Astro Boy, and that nice little homage to him. Here's another neat one. How do you know how to read this page? Well, because Osamu Tezuka is teaching you. You'll be sorry, and then they drive away. So how do you know you read this way instead of this way? Well, because he's looking to the right and looking down. So you look at that panel, and you go down here, and then it's easy from there. And you also see that these are visually connected from the black. Then you could maybe even come over here and come up here, or hop back. This is like the pregnant pause, and then over to here. So there's no confusion because he's posing his characters to help you or I go the right way. Fantastic. Jumping ahead, another one of these. Another thing, just like that motif, you go straight down, similar pictures in each panel so you understand that these all relate together. The ant is back. Pregnant pause with like extra details and a beautiful like moment. Back to normal. Fantastic. Hopping ahead. Oh, okay, this was a story that hit me really hard because, tragic, terrible things are always happening. I think that was the only point. Like, this guy crying, that's going to be you reading Tezuka because he puts his characters through heck in a handbasket. That's the point. He was a very simple, very cartoony artist influenced by the West, did funny little simple cartoon stories to start his career. Astro Boy and Princess Knight are still very influential. And then after his midlife crisis, came back and started really doing mature things with the medium and taking it as far as it could possibly go, I think. Speaking beyond just children. Gosh. That's how I felt the whole time I was reading it. All right. We're going to call it there. 17 minutes. You know what? I'm going to return all this stuff to the library. So that's kind of the end of the video. To contain my tangents and my OCD, I'm just going to spurg about all the funny little things I noticed in these books, and then I'm going to take them back to the library, and I'm going to clean my room and go into work mode. So this is kind of the end of the Marmaduke Fan Show. Not really, not the end, but a break so I can recover, a break so I can make good work, a break so I can clean my room and come back stronger and better than ever. Let's take a look at some. All right, so these are books that I got tired of reading, Blackbird and Body. So I didn't actually read these books. I just went mining, looking for interesting things. So Osamu Tezuka really spoke to me this week. Like, I needed this book this week as I was thinking about life and death, because he writes about life and death. These are just like fluffy little books I got bored of and moved on. But by like flipping through them and looking for things, I still found some interesting things to touch on. Now, usually the pattern is always like, oh, great, I didn't prepare for this very well. You know what? I think I'm going to actually contain the tangents and say I don't need to talk about every little thing I observed. The general pattern is the manga industry is ascendant. One of the reasons they're ascendant is they use all of their little editorial comments to build rapport with their audience, to talk to their audience about interesting little things that inspired them. So I don't actually need to talk about the 90 little details. Look at this. I'm already making progress on controlling my thoughts. Yeah, the overarching point is, because they do this, even if I don't like the product, even if it doesn't gel with me, this is kind of like teeny bopper fashionista art, but the manga industry successfully reached the teeny bopper fashionista market, whereas I think in the West, like Marvel Comics went after millennials and didn't really get millennials into comics. They went after, this little group and that little subgroup, and they got them into it by appealing to them directly. This is the stuff you like. We'll put it in a book for you. It doesn't have giant over-the-top action scenes. It has fashionable teenagers talking about their romantic problems in life, and super duper Japanese models read it and talk about it. It's a lot of fun. So I don't strongly recommend either of these series, but I do recommend that you flip through the books just kind of casually, look for any little interesting comments, any little takeaways you can get about how the medium is made, how the sausage gets made, and apply that to your own work. That's it. 20 minutes. We're going to call it there. I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. This is not goodbye. This is smell you later. Peace.